Good morning, everyone. It's still baking here in Morocco, and I've turned the air conditioning off while I do this short video, and it will be short because if it's off for long, I will absolutely bake. What I wanted to speak to you about this morning is a very important issue, because people will have seen across the press and also various animal rights groups making comment about it, is free-ranging dogs management in Morocco, the feeding dilemma under law number 19.25. Now, it hasn't yet been passed by Parliament, so there is still time for us to make representations. And in fact, the law includes the feeding dilemma, free-ranging equines as well. So it does affect us. And you know, as I have been for quite a long time now, arguing that associations in Morocco should be regulated. And I think that this particular law is a stab at doing that, but they haven't quite got it right. And that's why it's important to have representations from people such as us. Now, what it says, and I'll just read this to you. The law represents a significant shift towards humane approaches such as TNVR, yet it also contains provisions that have sparked controversy, especially those prohibiting the feeding, sheltering and treatment of stray animals in public places without authorisation, and violators face fines of up to 3,000 dirhams. Now, the key word there is authorisation. What has been happening, particularly since the pandemic, is that animal charities have been popping up all over the place. And you all know from what I've said before, the disaster that took place in Agadir when someone started a rescue and then ended up being deported and left the animals in an abysmal state. And what the government is wanting to do is make sure that everyone who's authorised to take stray animals and feed them from public spaces are people like us, where it's part of our constitution, agreed by the government, that that is our job and that's what we're going to continue doing. So I would say to all those charities out there, particularly some French ones, who think they're absolutely legal. I saw one recently establish itself in Morocco and advertise as a French association rescuing stray dogs in Marrakesh. You will fall under the umbrella of being fined because you're not regulated by Morocco, and the regulation is important. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Part of the law in terms of regulation is that at the end of every month, we are obliged to let the General Secretary to the government know how much money we brought into Morocco, where the money has come from and what it is being spent on. And that is to prevent money laundering. It's entirely sensible. And it also makes us comply with what is ethically the correct thing to do, which is why we don't take cash donations here, so that every donation that goes into the pot is regulated. And when we disclose it to the government, if there's ever an examination, we can justify every dirham, here in Morocco, every dirham that has been spent. I'll just say a wee spot more about that, if you don't mind, if you bear with me for a minute. I happen to think that that is crucial. And for this reason, I'm not naming people, but I know at the moment of a sanctuary that would profess to take equines, and they will take donations from people visiting, and it goes in a shoebox for goodness sake. And anything they take out of the shoebox. That is not acceptable, and the government will no longer tolerate it. I've said before, and I'll say it again, the government has rightly appointed a lawyer purely to go around all the associations and check they're complying with the law, because actually it is in the law that if you don't comply with sending your returns at the end of the month, you can be closed down immediately. Now 7 associations have been closed down already, but I think to go back to the new law that, in my view, does want some amendment, the key words are: it prohibits the feeding, sheltering or treating of stray animals in public spaces without authorisation. Now, it doesn't say anything about feeding or sheltering if you take them onto your premises or into your garden to feed them. Without authorisation means if you're not an authorised association. What I don't think the government ever intended, and we will make representations on this, is that people who kindly put food out for cats or for dogs in the street, individuals, I don't for a moment think that they are going to be fined, and I know they will continue to do it. It's the people who start collecting them and then start asking for donations. I hope that makes some sort of sense. And I really am with everybody who wants to protect the stray animals. That goes without saying. I know we deal with equines, but our shelter is full of stray equines. So, thought for today. Thank you for listening, and bye-bye.